This is me trying to think of something to say. Welcome to Macon. I want to thank you for joining me today. I'm going to try something just a little bit different, and I hope that you follow me along. So today I actually have a few things that I have to get done. I've been revamping my kitchen a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. It's been a lot. Anyways, I did some things for my birthday. I got a new island. I'm so excited about it. It's actually too big for my kitchen, but I don't care. I rearranged, and you know what? It's about what I like and not what everybody else likes, because it's not like I'm gonna get rid of my house anytime soon. So anyways, there's just so much today that I've got to get done. We have potluck on Sunday. My daughter has requested some sourdough cookies. I had 2 anniversaries earlier this month in our church, and so they have requested sourdough cinnamon rolls. Apparently it's a favorite with everybody. So I've got to try to get that done today, and I also need to kind of clean up around here. I worked on my bedroom yesterday, and my husband and I were planning on having a yard sale this weekend, but we had thunderstorms come through, which I apologize. That's the reason why my eyes look the way they do, because I've been dealing with a migraine, and for the first time in forever, I've actually taken something. And I usually try to rely on more natural kind of things to try to help ease the pain, but today I just could not do it. I mean, it was so bad. So I ended up with taking some migraine medicine to try to help me get through the day, because I have children and my youngest needs attention, and I can't be found laying around sleeping all day long trying to nurse a headache. So I took something. And speaking of that, let me tell you this really quick. So if you haven't signed up for my essential oils, I do it every month. I send out a new recipe every month from my blog at makin.com, and I recommend that you do it. I am so excited to be doing this. I love sharing. I've had people that have asked me, what blends do you use, things like that. I am no expert by any means. And so I always tell people, I try to put a disclaimer at the bottom of my stuff, look, go do your research on your own, make sure it's going to work for you, because I don't want to be the cause of any health issues in your life. So always make sure you do your research. Make sure it's suitable for your children. Make sure it's suitable if you have pets in your home. So there's lots of things to take into consideration when it comes to essential oils. But anyways, this month, actually, if you sign up before June the 1st, on June 1st, I will send out an email. And forgive me, because there's been a couple times it's been like a few days after that. It's not intentional. It's just my life gets very, very busy. I am a busy pastor's wife, and I am a busy mother. And so like for May, we had the end of the year for graduation. I volunteer teach at our Christian school. And so I had a lot of stuff going on, trying to get that done and some things done around the house. And so it was a little late. So forgive me if it's a couple days after the 1st of the month, but usually it's right at the 1st of the month when I get that sent out. So for June, I'm so excited, and ignore my labels. But for June, I have created a blend for hay fever. And I am so excited about this blend. I'm not going to tell you what's in it, because you need to sign up for the newsletter that I send out for the essential oils. But anyways, for the hay fever, the reason why this came about was my husband suffers from allergies extremely bad. Like I'm talking like severe. He can't get out and mow the yard. And I'll explain that here in a minute too. That's a whole nother story that I'm so excited about telling. Well, I'm not really excited about it, but I think it's hilarious. And it'll kind of encourage you in this part of your chaotic life. But anyways, so he was suffering from hay fever. It comes on so fast. If the ragweed count gets up, I mean, it's just like a sneeze fest with him. I mean, he's just sneezing. And then he's just miserable and terrible. And so I hate it for him, because I use a pollen blend to try to help the whole family in the house when that time comes. But in this moment, that wasn't good enough for him. So I thought, well, I'm going to go do some research, and I'm going to see what blends would actually help with hay fever. And so I came up with a blend, and I put it all together and I ran it in the machine, our diffuser. And then I asked him, I said, is it helping any? And he's like, oh yeah, it's kind of opening up where he can breathe a little bit. And I ended up doing a rollerball blend. And so on the rollerball blend, I put it like on his pressure points. I put it on his wrist so he'd sniff it, put it around his ears, and then I did a little bit on his chest. And he said it didn't cure it. It didn't take it completely away, but it did help him, give him some relief, which is what he needed. So since I knew that it was working, it has so many different essential oils in it. I ended up creating a little bottle so that all I have to do is when it hits him again, I just go in and I take this little bottle and I put my little 5 to 10 drops, depending on the size of the diffuser. I put it in there, and that way it helps immediately, and I can already go ahead and try to give him some relief. So I'm excited about that. So be sure to sign up for that newsletter, because it's every month. And I also send out emails in regards to the latest blog posts that I put out. I also send out an email just giving you little tidbits of encouragement. I've been trying to do those once a week, and hopefully I can continue to do that. Some things in life has changed to where possibly I may be able to be a little bit more involved. And it's the same thing with the YouTube channel. I'm hoping to kind of get a little bit more involved in that so you can follow me and my family along to show you that we're just as real as you are. And speaking of being real, before we jump into other topics, but speaking of being real, my daughter recently was asking, let me explain. If you have teenage daughters or if you have children, I hope that you do the same thing. But if you don't, your children are your children, my children are mine. But this is a choice that my family made. We don't allow our children to have phones until they become a certain age and when it becomes appropriate. Now, I understand that with today's society, that's all the rage. All the kids have phones. I mean, even I've seen them as small as 5 and 6 having a phone, and I'm thinking, but anyways, besides the point. So we don't. My daughter, when she turned 10, she saved up enough money to pay for half of an iPod. Now, iPods aren't existing anymore unless you buy a used one. And that was her way of getting her first little device. And on that, I was able to control a lot of those features from my phone. And so that was some of the things that we streamlined there. So she, this past year, she's 14 now, and she started going to different homes and, spending the nights at friends' houses. And I always wanted her to have a safe way out, because unless she had access to the Wi-Fi, she really didn't have a way to call mom and dad. And since people don't really have landlines anymore, it was kind of hard for her to be able to get to us. So I wanted her to have a phone number just in case. Now, I still have control over that because, like I said, it's an iPhone, and I'm able to connect all of that to my phone and keep control of it. But anyway, she'd ask us, long story short, she'd ask if she could have this app called Be Real, because some of her friends have Be Real, and we don't want her on Instagram or Facebook, mainly because I don't want her feeling like she has to be that part of the world. It influences so much in a young girl's life, in any child's life. There's too much influence out there about, what you're supposed to be. So in this app of Being Real, we did a bunch of research, and her dad and I both downloaded the app as well so that we could kind of see what it was all about. And I'm telling you, when it says Be Real, it catches you off guard. I wouldn't be surprised to get an alert here in a minute saying that, oh, it's time to be real. And so literally in the moment that it says to be real, you're supposed to take a picture of whatever you're doing in that moment. And then it takes a picture of yourself, how you are that moment. Listen to me, people. You don't want to see me be real. Yeah, I did fix my hair for this video. I'm just saying, school's out right now. And so it's like just going around however I feel necessary to go around. I'm being comfortable. And so it's interesting to be able to be on there and you show yourself as real. And the picture of real is not as pretty as what everybody makes it out to be. I've got stuff behind me. It's reality, but I promise you, right before I did this, I made sure all this stuff was kind of straightened up, because I was like, I don't want everybody. But if I let you be real and I let you just look around at what, and that's what's going to happen here in a little bit, I'm actually just going to let you follow me around in my reality of what I am, of who I am. my house is not the greatest house in the world. There's lots of things that have to be done. It's about being real. It's about being who you are instead of us hiding behind stuff of who we want to be. We need to be real, and being real actually helps our children to understand that it's okay for them to be who they are. Speaking of that, this is my latest book. Now, I know this is flipped backwards probably for you, but the name of this book is Courageous, and I'll try to put a picture here. The name of the book is Courageous, and it says Being Daughters Rooted in Grace, and it's by Tara A. Matson. I'm telling you, this book so far, I have my sister-in-law actually reading it because she has a teenage daughter, and so we're reading it together. But it is a very good book. It's the group that they have is called Courageous Girls, and I'm really enjoying the book. So it's one that I do recommend right now, especially if you have a teenage daughter or if you have a preteen. I really recommend this book for you, that you go through and you read it and highlight the things that's in it. But anyways, that's my quick thing there. I just wanted to share that with you. I hope that you enjoy the little bit of change that's coming with my YouTube channel. I try to keep my shorts literally short and sweet. I've been trying to bring some humor into them, and I'm hoping that I can bring some laughter in your life. The biggest thing that I want you to take away from all of this is I'm real. I'm not going to hide behind the reality of who I am. My life is chaotic. I talked to you recently. If any of you, well, those of you that were signed up for my email, you would have known about my debacle with my mower recently. This is how real life gets. I had actually been outside mowing my yard, and I explained that where I live is my grandfather built this house, and I actually helped him. It's so exciting, but I was 5 years old. I was probably less than 5 years old. I had to be less than 5 years old. It's probably 3 or 4 years old that I can remember. I just remember vividly sitting down on the flooring that's in this house and helping hammer nails in for this house that I'm living in right now. But my grandfather was raised in the Great Depression, and so he ended up keeping lots and lots of stuff around the house. And so we've gradually been cleaning up around our house. And maybe sometime I can post some old videos of us doing some work around the house. That might be a little interesting for you. But anyways, as I mow, I'm always very, very careful. Like I've been mowing farther and farther and farther out. And I've been very careful. I have a 0-turn mower. And since I'm the one that does all the mowing because my husband has a hard time mowing due to his allergies, I've been very careful. I try to watch, I try to check the grass, make sure I'm not running over. I have ran over feed sacks that eventually have just come up from the ground, got caught up in the blades of my mower, and I had to get up there and pull them out. I had rags one time get up under there. I had some kind of copper wire. I had a neighbor that went to church with us, and thankfully he helped me get the mower and get it all undone and unwrapped, so I didn't have to take it to the shop and try to get it done. So there's always been, it's just, I have to be extremely careful when I'm going through the yard. So this time around, I was being very, very careful, and all of a sudden I'm puttering along, and blam! And then all of a sudden my deck just starts shaking, and I'm thinking, what just happened? So I'm looking around on the ground, checking the ground, trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm like, what happened? And then I smell smoke, I smell burning, and I was like, what is going on? And then my mower it's just, and I mean literally, and it just stops. And I was like, okay. So I turned the mower off. I'm getting down on the ground. I'm underneath. I'm looking because I'm not sticking my hand up and under there, but I'm looking. Got my flashlight, checking it out. I can't see anything. So I get back on my mower, and I'm riding around the yard, and I see it. And I'll show you a picture right here. This bolt hit the underside of my mower, and it did so much damage. I didn't know. I was like, I couldn't. And so I told my husband, I was like, I don't know what happened. I don't know, but this is the bolt, and I showed him. And so anyway, so I was really upset. So we took it down to the shop, and when they called us and gave us a quote, it was more than just the belt. It was like, I don't know, I can't remember. He could tell you much better than I can. I think it was like the shaft, or I don't know. There was like lots of stuff. The whole deck was going to have to be rebuilt. Okay, $800. It's still cheaper than buying a new mower, but $800. And I thought, Lord, how am I going to pay $800? I mean, granted, we do budget our money. I try to save. I put money aside for cases just like this. But I was thinking, that's a lot of money. So I sent my mom a message, and I said, Mom, I'm going to kill my grandfather a second time. And of course, you know, I know that it wasn't intentional. I understand that. But it happened. And so we went to go pick up the mower, and well, they called us and said, so yeah, your mower's ready or whatever. And it was like 2 weeks and my grass is like growing up super high. But I was like, I need my mower back. And so they called us and said, it's ready. So he was like, okay. So we were prepared. And he said, well, tell me, you know, how much is it? Whatever. And it ended up being about $590. That's still cheaper. That's still cheaper than $800. And I'm so thankful that they gave us that much of a break. I'm telling you, God took care of that. God took care of it. However, we go pick it up. We pay for it. I come in from mowing the yard that afternoon, and I'm hot, I'm sweaty. And my husband had ridden it a little bit and mowed a little bit for himself, and then came in real quick, and then the whole family stayed inside while I mowed the yard. And so I come in, I'm hot, sweaty, I'm thinking, man, I just want to cool off and, you know, whatever. And I go get a shower, come out, and the whole family starts complaining, like, it's hot in here. You know, why is it so hot in here? Well, when we moved here, we put in a central heat and air after my son was born, because we had a wood stove, and he kept getting bronchitis. And he was an infant. And so we didn't want that happening. So we put in central heat and air. We go to bed that night, and our air conditioner won't work. Talk about chaos. So it's like, you know what? I'm not gonna worry about it. God's got it under control. If it costs me an arm and a leg, it just costs me an arm and a leg. I'm okay. Whatever, God, whatever you decide. So, great news. The guy comes the next day. We sweat all night long. Can't open our windows now, granted, because, I mean, our windows open, but he can't open our windows because we don't have screens on our windows. That's a whole nother issue. I'm telling you, it's just one thing after the other. But listen, so we try to get in touch with our AC guy. I actually went to high school with him. He was a great guy. And if you know me and you live in my area, tell me and send me a message, and I will tell you who he is, and you can go and you can use him because he's wonderful. But anyways, he was out of town, but he sent his person that works with him, sent him over here that next morning, looked at it, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. It was something minute and small, and it didn't cost us a ton of money, and the Lord was watching out for us. See, that's just the things that happen. And to get ready for today, just getting ready for today, I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth, and I dropped the cap to the toothpaste, and our drain doesn't have a cover on it. No intent. It doesn't have a cover. And what do? I dropped the lid down the drain. Nothing I could do about it. It's just part of it. That's your encouragement for chaos.